All right, folks, welcome to the show. It is Saturday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Is there anywhere else that you would want to be? Building Noah's Ark up here. Me and Jeff are in the Northeast. It is rain, but that's not going to stop us here on the Base Pass. Big day today, Jeff. Major League Baseball, UFC fights, NBA, NHL. We have a lot to talk about today, big man. It's Saturday. What's going on, brother?
WNBA also.
You know what? The 21st season of the WNBA gets underway. Packages cheap and affordable, $199 a month. Big man's going to sell that to you, folks.
Yeah. I'm actually I actually just took a job with the Seattle Storm. I'm actually selling tickets for them. So they have a game today against the patented and legendary LA Sparks. Breanna Stewart will play for the Storm, for your Storm. So we're looking forward to that today. We'll get into that WNBA a little bit later, but yes, Donnie, baseball takes center stage today.
Yep, we're going to have a nice clean show for you folks today. We were supposed to have a guest on, Andreas Hale, but he is en route to the fights for UFC. So me and the big man are going to cover UFC today. Chances are you people in the chat box might know a little bit more than we do on it, but we're going to have some fun to wrap up the show and talk some UFC action here. Let's get to the business, Jeff, as we like to say. If you haven't followed yet on Twitter, at SBR Sports Picks, check out SBRodds.com. You know, being me and the big man also host the Late Night on Campus Monday through Friday. And again, down in that chat box, over 28,000 people have already subscribed. SBR Sportsbook Review. Subscribe, hit the like button. Let's tune in on the chat box. I see the normal people out there for us. Dylan, Rich, Odds Couple, Bradley, Seth, DJ One Mike. Let's get it started today, Jeff.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
All right, let's see. Major League Baseball action today. Jeff, how do you want to handle this today? I know there was actually a game moved up. You want to hit the 2 1 o'clock games first?
Sure.
Or you just want to go online? All right, we'll go 1 o'clock.
Yeah, let's just do that. We'll get those out of the way, and then we'll do the rest of the card. We'll start at the top.
All right, let me switch this up here for us so we can get in here. All right, let's go 1 o'clock, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Jeff. This game was originally scheduled for a night slate game, but as you know, Jeff, living in the Northeast up here, 1 to 2 inches of rain expected. It's pouring today here in New Jersey, where I'm at, and a little bit in Pennsylvania there. So it looks like it's going to catch up to Boston a little bit later. So they bumped that game up 1 o'clock. That's going to be Snell and how about that one? Snell and Sale on the mound. 2 lefties here. Tampa Bay and Boston. 85% of the tickets. 83% of the wagers, Jeff, back in Chris Sale here. No surprise. Opened up at minus 210 here at Pinnacle. Minus 225 currently at Pinnacle. Minus 240 at Chris. 5 dimes on SBRodds.com, still showing minus 230 in this. No surprise on a big favorite here for Chris Sale. Let me flip through my notes here that I have since we're going a little bit out of order. Snell, Jeff, 3 road starts this year. Very good. 1.84. As you know me, I look for Tampa Bay to have more value at home than on the road, but Snell certainly holding up his end of the bargain. Chris Sale, Jeff, 4 home starts, 1.50 ERA. 2 interesting notes here. Tampa Bay 5-12 on the road, even after the win yesterday there in Boston. And Boston is 11-5 after a loss. So certainly some bounce back ability. But Jeff, I know you're pretty much the same as me. We see that monster number out there. Not much value for me on this one, big man.
Tampa, 12 games against left-handed pitching this year, hitting .213. Just brutally anemic against lefties. We've talked about on the road. I'm not a big fan of Tampa Bay, and I'm not a particularly big fan of Blake Snell. Good young pitcher, but he does have some command problems like most do. And look, this Boston lineup lately has been raking the baseball, Donnie. 7.1 runs a game, hitting .295 for the last week. You mentioned the loss last night. Did make a furious comeback, though, in that one to kind of make it honorable. Honorable doesn't mean much in this game, but they did have a nice last couple innings. So for me, yeah, the price is too high. I would look other ways in this game. But for me, as far as the money line, I have no interest in this one.
Yeah, not too much for me. It's one of those interesting games also, Jeff, as we know it's been bumped up due to weather issues that are supposed to hit the New England area. It sort of feels like one of those games, Jeff, where we've all played Little League Baseball. We've all played Little League and, football, whatever it is. You know how back in younger days, I mean, hey, look, I'm a little bit older. So in the 80s, my Little League field didn't have lights on it. The weather was coming. Maybe it was going to get dark a little bit sooner, so the game feels a little bit rushed. Chris Sale might be on the mound. Hey, hurry up. Let me peel through this lineup. Let's at least get 5 innings in so we can get a complete game. One of those things I like to stay away from in that aspect. Do you ever take a look, Jeff, at an angle like that says, weather's coming, we hope we can get this one in type of feel?
Well, I'll tell you what, and look, I keep AccuWeather right on my phone constantly when I'm looking at like radar and stuff. Rain's coming in this game. I mean, it's definitely concerning, but for me, I don't know why you don't just cancel this game. To be honest, it is concerning. But either way, I mean, Chris Sale is a guy that, as far as bullpens are concerned, I'm much of that Boston's bullpen. I think Chris Sale, they'll still get probably 3-4 innings of good, clean baseball. As far as rain, this might be a situation where they'll end up, postponing it or letting it go early. But for me, Donnie, there is something I do like in this game, but I'm going to kind of keep that separate. The first game out of the docks, it's the one game I won't get too in depth with. But yeah, rain's coming, but I think it'll hold off for a while.
Yeah, about a half hour till start time. A lot of tickets already pouring in on that one, over 7,800. So obviously when you're attracting a guy like Chris Sale, a lot of people like to involve Boston in parlays when Sale's on the mound. But keep a little bit of eye on Snell out there. He's been pretty good on the road. Even though you watch him pitch, it's one of those guys where I like to call like smoke and mirrors out there. He doesn't have much, but hey, if you're going to be a major league pitcher and you're going on the road and holding a sub-2 ERA, that's not that bad at all. Let's keep it moving, Jeff, here. 1:07 Eastern time.
Don,
Yep.
I think they made a good move here by moving this game up. As far as like weather, AccuWeather's saying that it's going to start raining around 7, 8 o'clock. So they should be able to get this one in for the most part. And I think it's a good move by them to move it up because the rain's
there's no way they were playing it into the night. Absolutely not. Yeah, I agree with that. Next game up on the docket, Seattle and Toronto. Stroman's going to tote the bump here for the Blue Jays. Seattle's going to bring out Mr. Weber on the mound. He would be Ryan Weber. I know everybody's very familiar with that guy. 72% of the tickets coming in on the Toronto Blue Jays, Jeff, opened up at -170, is peeled back. The Greek showing -150 right now. 66% of the money is actually back in Seattle here. No Cano in this game. Weber's on the mound. Let's get to some of the particulars here to let the people know of what we might be looking at. Ryan Weber, 5.15 career ERA. First start this year, Stroman, 4 home starts, been pretty good, 3.33 ERA. Seattle, unless they're playing Philadelphia, kind of hard to trust them on the road as they dip back after a loss yesterday to 7-14 on the road. Toronto, 7-4 in May. Looking to stem the tide, maybe get some of those reserves back. One of those games, Jeff, not that interested in the guy that's going to be coming back making his first start, especially since it's on the road. No Cano, but the one interested thing, Jeff, can we back Toronto sitting at 154 here at Chris on SBRodds.com?
Yeah, this is an interesting game, Donnie. We got to point out Seattle on the road. That's already a red flag. There's another red flag. No Cano means really no interest. Ryan Weber's a guy that he's one of those minor league stars, Donnie. You know, the guy that just mowing down the minor leaguers. But you look in the major leagues, he did have 21 games again with Atlanta last year, an ERA above 5. So he was pretty much mediocre. Now he's got to go face a team in Toronto who's won 5 of 7 all of a sudden, Donnie. They have their star pitcher, Stroman, on the mound, who has been their most consistent pitcher, got around a 3 ERAs, pitching well. I know a lot of people like Marcus Stroman. Yeah, I mean, it is steep, but the price is telling me that Toronto is probably the play here. I think this line makes sense. And I think the good thing about Toronto is they've been pitching well lately, Donnie. You look at that average against over the last week or so. Toronto looks like the right play in this game, though it is a little bit too rich for my blood.
Yeah. Biagini last night comes up big as the Paisan, second on the bump today. Be nice to see them. And again, they're having a winning record here in May. Once they get Donaldson back, Tulowitzki back, maybe they can fortify that team as opposed to sell off more parts. Pillar's been fantastic out of the leadoff hole, and we all know how well he plays center field. So interesting one there that we're going to be looking at in Toronto. So,
and one other thing with Seattle, I mean, they were. They didn't get crushed last night, but Bergman didn't go particularly long. Their bullpen has issues. I mean, they have a poor bullpen. If Weber can't go long in this game, this one may get ugly. Toronto playing well. This is not. I wouldn't be looking at Seattle here. Real quick, Breadman, I've been on a roll, but I'm feeling blind today in MLB. Can't see any edges. It's a tough card. I mean, there's a lot of tough games out there. I know going over for me, it was definitely kind of tougher for me. But we'll continue to crack on, Donnie, see if we can find some things here.
Yeah, let's take a look here, getting into the next game on the rotation. So we'll start right down the order now that we knocked out the 2 1 o'clock games. So we'll be able to stream it directly through, as you can look right on your sportsbook. 9:51, 9:52, 7:10 Eastern Standard Time. We're going to have Atlanta and Miami, Tehran and Volquez tonight. 58% of the backers backing Miami. I did see a stat that came across the ESPN ticker that has Miami losing 6 straight games. Doesn't surprise me. Just can't get it together with both their starting pitching and their bullpen here. Line opened up at -104, but we have some some nice movement here towards Miami's the home favorite. 59% of the tickets, 62% of the money, driving that price up to minus 128 and on the Greek, and also 5 Dime shooting at minus 126 now with the total. Opened at 8.5, now driven to 9. That's no surprise either with the way these two bullpens and pitching staffs have sort of carried on here. If we look at some particulars here in the game, Jeff, Tehran, boy, is he happy to be out of Atlanta and SunTrust there. 3 road starts, .93 ERA, getting lit up at home. But maybe that road tonic's going to feel good down in Miami, get a little bit looser there, warm weather. Volk has 2 home starts, a 5 ERA. He hasn't shown much this year, just a veteran type of thing. Interesting thing here, Jeff, the last 3 starts between both of these pitchers here, 6.23 ERA for each of them. So certainly one of these guys is going to be hopefully looking for a bounce-back start here. Atlanta, 7-4 off a win, so always a feel-good thing there. Miami, 5-10 at home, and 6-13 playing a Major League ball club that is under 500. So certainly playing down here for the competition are the Marlins, Jeff.
Yeah, the Marlins have been hitting, Donnie, but their pitching's been a mess. They've lost 9 of 11. Volk, as you mentioned it, really fading. And this guy is – and there was a time where he was really effective back a couple years ago, but he's just become kind of a dead kind of arm. When he pitches, he's going to give up 4 or 5 runs. That's just what it is. And like I said, they have no problem hitting, but Tehran's been – fantastic on the road, and ERA under 1. He's really looked good, and if he could just take out his home starts, he would be an all-star candidate right now. But the problem is at SunTrust he hasn't been good. Yeah, I have no real opinion on this game. I don't like Volquez, but I also don't like betting against the bats of Miami, especially after last night. They really didn't play too well. Atlanta kind of jumped on them, and I don't expect Atlanta 2 games in a row to hit the way they do. But this is a tough one. The line's pretty much where I can't get much value out of either side. So this one is a pass for me, myself.
Yeah, next up on the docket here, Jeff, rotation 9:53, 9:54. It's going to be a 7:05 Eastern Standard Time start. And what we're talking about here is Philadelphia and Washington, the Phillies and the Nationals, Pivetta and Roark. It's the same type of situation that we had yesterday. So I actually can use the same notes because it looks like Pivetta and Roark are going to be the estimated starters here. Minus 180, it opened up at Pinnacle today. Chris is showing at minus 188, 23% of the tickets back in the Philadelphia Phillies. To no surprise there. I mean, clearly outclassed by the Washington Nationals here. Pivetta struggled in his last start versus the Nationals. Roark, not the greatest pitcher, but, I mean, he can come in. Similar to that you saw last night, too. Roark reminds me a lot of Matt Shoemaker of the Angels last night. Had a good start, 6 innings and no earned runs. Should be able to get it together today. I'm not interested in laying 188, 177, 180, 190, whatever's out there with sportsbook.com. Also not interested in taking the Phillies with Pivetta in this one, Jeff. 1 road start. He's been decent, though. 5 innings, 2 ERA. So obviously 2 earned runs given up. Crush versus the Nationals his last time out, gave up a few home runs. Roark's been okay at home, Jeff. 4 home starts, 4.12 ERA. Philadelphia Phillies, obviously, since the game got rained out, 6-12 after a loss. The Nationals, 10-6 at home, but 14-6 at night. So certainly when the lights come on, they do start to play well. Don't have much on this game. One thing we did look at again, Jeff, one would figure Washington team total would be a nice square play in this one. Figuring they're probably going to get the 5 runs here, one would assume.
Yeah, we talked about this one yesterday. Phillies have lost 10 of 12. Pivetta, I've mentioned. I think he's close to getting lit up. He's been like living on the edge. He's just kind of got lucky in some of his starts. Washington's a team I think that can do it, probably hitting over 300 at home, scoring 6 runs a game. For me, look, the lineup's nasty, and Pivetta, he's due for it. So I think it will come today. I mentioned I kind of like Nat's first 5 minus a half here. I think I like Roark. He's been decent against the Phillies in his career, and the Phillies are bad right now, particularly on the road. So like yesterday, I'll recommend that. I remember one of our friends on the chat box yesterday mentioned the over 8.5. It's now 9. So 24 hours later, it's moved up a half run. So at 8.5, I like it. At 9, obviously it's a tougher number, but I would go with the Nationals here, but the line's just too high at full game. Donnie, Kyle Hamburg, read that comment by him there.
Was it the one earlier? I'm off the page right now. Yeah. Was the one about the cheesesteaks?
Yeah, read that. That's fine.
Come on now. Come on now.
Come on, man. It's not a sub. It's a hoagie.
That's like saying if I went to your town and said, where's the best cheeseburger at Burger King or McDonald's? Yeah, come on over there.
Well, listen, here I'm going to break it down real quick for the listeners. So Philadelphia, right? It's known for cheesesteaks. Everybody knows Passaginos because they show it on camera, and it's glitzy and glamorous, and they're right across the street from each other. Literally Donnie, as we know.
It's like the Times Square cheesesteaks down there.
Right. It's literally right next to each other, right across the street. So, tourists like it. It lights up. It's great, whatever. But if you're truly a Philadelphian, you truly know the city and love it, those are the places you only go to when anyone else is closed. They would be far down on the rung as far as favorites for me. I don't go there. I haven't gone there for a lot of years. The only reason I ever go up to that neighborhood is to play basketball across the street at Capitola when I was a young lad, but not somewhere I would go now. So I would take you somewhere else, personally.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of good places around Philly. If you come in the Philly area, hit us up, man. We'll point you in the right direction. Jeff, 106 people watching out there live on the chat box, joining in. Thank you very much, folks. Again, it's a Saturday. It's rainy up here in the Northeast. There's no better place where we'd rather be, both Jeff and I, than spending the afternoon with you, giving some information. As we say that, let's keep it moving down the list, Jeff. Cy Young alert coming up in this game, folks. 9:55, 9:56 on the rotation. Cincinnati throwing Lisberto Bonilla. San Francisco throwing Matt Moore today. So certainly clash of the Titans here on the mound. 51% heading towards Cincinnati in this with Bonilla on the mound today. 8.5 is the total. It's actually dropped a little bit, Jeff, to 8 if we take a look at Pinnacle there. Opened up at -130 for San Francisco. Peeled back a little bit at Chris to -117. Some particulars, some angles in this game. Bonilla is a 3.86 career ERA. However, folks, hasn't started a game in Major League Baseball since 2014. Matt Moore, albeit scrub-like ERA, but at home, he's been decent. 3.05 ERA. Cincinnati hasn't faced too many lefties so far. 3-3 overall. San Francisco 5-15 versus right-handed pitching. If you watched the game last night, which got over, I believe, at 3:25 Eastern Standard Time, I wasn't watching that game. A scrub named Buster Posey slammed one over the fence to end that marathon there. So who knows who's going to play in this one? Who knows? Watching the lineups, bullpens are stretched to the max. I can imagine a lot of starters sitting this one out. An interesting game last night, but again, two pitchers that could go either way, especially a guy who hasn't started a game, Jeff, in 3 years.
Yeah, Lisberto Bonilla. I don't know if it's Bonilla's Spobby's son, but Bonilla's making his major league debut here. Donnie's a starter. He did, though, face a team earlier this year in long relief, gave up 4 earned runs over 5 innings, so it wasn't exactly effective. Reds really trying to keep things together here with this pitching staff. He's making start for rookie Davis, who's been poor as well. Look, Moore, for the record, at home is been pretty good. It's the road where he's been a mess. Reds are raking right now, though, so it's hard to kind of get involved with Matt Moore. This is another game I don't have much on. I would imagine this game would go over, but the Giants are never a team that you feel confident in taking overs with. They could just be wretched offensively at times, but maybe Buster will put up 5 or 6 RBIs today for us, like the absolute Hall of Fame amazing catcher he is. Maybe he can hit the over himself today. But for me, I don't have much. Maybe the Giants should win. Bonilla's a guy that shouldn't get a major league win, but you never know with the Giants. So for me, it's a pass.
Interesting factoid here from last night's game. If you go back and check, Jeff, 15 total pitchers were used in that affair last night. 7 by Cincinnati, 8 by San Francisco. So some tired bullpens in there. Might want to play into it if you're into that type of factor.
Now, what time did you say this game ended, Donnie?
3:24, Jeff, Eastern Standard Time it ended.
I was up to about 3 o'clock. I don't even think I don't even know what I was doing. I don't think I even noticed this game. Long game. I guess it was as long as the Cubs game the other night. Probably. I
mean, that's exactly. I mean, that's amazing how, and again, the game ends 3-2 in a low scoring affair where you almost played an additional baseball game in extra innings, or actually you did play an additional baseball game in extra innings where one team scored 1 run, or 0 runs technically over 9 innings. So certainly not the best. One would figure like Cincinnati would sort of get after you with that offense, but slow down. That's just what happens out there in AT&T ballpark out there. So we'll keep it moving along here. 9:59, 9:60 next up on the docket. Actually, excuse me, skipped one here. I got really excited by the pitcher that was for the Mets today. So let's backtrack here.
Cubs, alert.
Yeah, exactly. Cubs and Cardinals up on the docket, 9:57, 9:58. That's Lester and Martinez. 49% of the tickets backing the St. Louis Cardinals at this point. So almost a 50-50 ticket split here. If we take a look at the opening lines, minus 104, so roughly a pick 'em, has since gotten some money and movement here on the St. Louis Cardinals. Chris is now showing up here at minus 114. Pinnacle is at minus 115. So some decent movement here between these two ball clubs. Obviously a rivalry out there in the Central. Lester's 3 road starts, Jeff. Very un-John Lester, like 6.06 ERA. Martinez, 4 home starts, been pretty good, Jeff. Sub 3 ERA. If we look, that's actually 2.81 to be exact. Both of these teams in similar positions, striking distance from each other. Chicago 18 and 17, and St. Louis 19 and 15. Interesting game last night. One would think the hot Cardinal bats returning home versus a subpar pitcher, in my opinion, couldn't get the bats going. Cubs spotted a nice victory, even with Chris Bryant being struck from the roster right before the game started. So nice win by the Cubs.
This is a series I have no opinion on. I mean, yesterday I thought we had something with the Cardinals. Today, I mean, Cubs are only hitting 177 over the last 7 games. They're 2-5. Lester's been struggling on the road, but he's been good against the Cubs or against the Cardinals. So I don't know. This is just, there's too many things going on here. I don't have anything on this game.
Yeah, total opened up at 8, dropped to 7.5. I can see the reasoning behind that. I mean, you're technically, a division rival. Both of these teams are used to each other, know how to pitch. There's a big book on them. Don't know if Chris Bryant's going to play. That could be a big boost for St. Louis with him being out of the lineup. If you're looking right now at this game, I probably, just the way the line movement's going with the amount of tickets and the money coming in, probably would lean toward the St. Louis Cardinals in this one, but there's a long way to go. Get some lineups out there we could check a little bit later on. Now, I did skip over the Cubs game by accident, but it was no surprise that I got really giddy by hitting this next game rotation. 959, 960. That is Robert Selman, Gus Selman, G. Selman. Doesn't matter what you call him. Just call him a hitting machine on the mound versus Zach Davies. 2,100 tickets have come in so far. So very light betting since it is a night game tonight at 7:10 Eastern Standard Time. 53% of the tickets are back in Milwaukee. However, a lot of people's brain, I guess, has to be, stimulated or readjusted or maybe even given a lobotomy. That 81% of the money is back in the Mets and Gisselman at this point. Opened up at minus 125. Jeff slipped back to 5 dimes to minus 113. So the money is real on the New York Mets. Could we have a reinvigoration of Gisselman? Maybe a, huge effort today. Let's get to some of the stats here. Selman in 2 road starts, Jeff, has been sensational. 12.10 ERA. Davis, 4 home starts, 6.87 ERA. Last 3 starts, however, for Davies, Jeff, been pretty good. 2.30 ERA. New York 7-10 after a loss. And Milwaukee must party a lot on Friday nights, Jeff, because they are 0-5 on Saturdays this season.
Yeah, listen, I'll pretend that this game will get played. I don't think it's going to. It's raining pretty hard up there.
In Milwaukee, they have a dome, Jeff.
Isn't this in New York? I thought it was in New York.
No, it's in Milwaukee.
Oh, my fault. I guess I'm getting confused. Sorry. Yeah, by the way, someone mentioned the Yankees game. That game has been postponed. I don't know, Bredman, if you
Doubleheader tomorrow, I believe, Jeff, correct?
Right. Sorry. So it's in a dome. My fault. Where do you start with this game? Obviously, you have G. Selman, who what do you say about him? I mean,
he doesn't offer anything to me. I mean, I've watched him pitch last year, this year. I mean, everybody, if you're in Major League Baseball, can you have a good start? Yes. I mean, Tomlin was a batting practice pitcher.
Yeah, but
yesterday.
Josh
He was dominant. I get that. The point I'm trying to make is if you're in the Major League Baseball, you can get some stuff to go your way. I just don't trust Gisselman in any position at this point because I know what he brings to the table. But then again, he's matching up with somebody with the same type of thing who could be hit all over the ball yard.
Yeah, Josh Tomlin at least has some as a veteran, he's been around. He doesn't walk people, luckily. That's the one thing Josh Tomlin doesn't do. But yeah, G. Selman in 30 innings, he's given up 27 earned runs. On the road, he's given up 13 earned runs in 9 2/3. Donnie, great point about this one. Both these pitchers, both 6-0 to the over this year, and their 6 starts apiece. We all know the Mets 22-7 to the over this year. At home, Milwaukee 15-6 to the over. I'm going over here, Donnie. I know it looks square, but I like the Brewers bats. Mets, for the record, at least have been hitting this year a little bit. And on the road, you look at this pitching staff for the Mets. Opponents hitting 294 and scoring over 6 runs a game. That's the Mets on the road pitching staff. Just a mess of a group. I'm going to go over. Milwaukee hasn't done much better opponents at home hitting wise. So we should see a heavy scoring game here, I would imagine.
Yeah, Chris is peeking through there, Jeff, with 9.5, which is a pretty high line there for obviously a National League ballpark. So I don't know where the sharp money is going at this point on that game with the over, but if you're taking the under, boy, you have a
good luck.
Yeah, good luck with that one. Next game up on the docket, 961, 962, Pittsburgh at Arizona. That's Williams and Walker on the mound. 77% of the tickets by the public coming in already on Taijuan Walker. Line opened up at minus 160, spiked it, Chris, to minus 173. Looks like Five Dimes still holding steady with the minus 160. 23% of the tickets going for Pittsburgh here and 40% of the money. We saw, a ballpark correction, I would like to say, after Zach Greinke throws a gem the night before. The skies opened up last night, so to speak, in the desert, and it was raining runs last night. Arizona, again, continues to pummel the ball at home, getting back to business. Williams' one start was horrible. 3 innings, 6 earned run. Taijuan Walker's last starts, Jeff, under 3 is an ERA. Pittsburgh atrocious on the road, 6-15. Flip that record around for Arizona at 15-6 at home. They continue to hit. I don't see the bat slowing down tonight. Do you, Jeff?
I was actually on Arizona last night, thank God. It was a nice performance. But they actually went down 1-0 in that game, and that was really all you saw out of Pittsburgh. A nice guy to jump on last night in Glass now. But you look at today, Donnie, we've talked about Pittsburgh. This team has lost 9 of 12. Over the last week, they're hitting 170. Just a poor group. I mean, the only guy you really look at in this lineup that scares you at all is Josh Harrison up at the leadoff spot. But other than that, they just have not had much production. And Taijuan Walker comes over from the Mariners this year. He kind of had a tough start to the year, but lately he's really kind of leveled off. You look at his last start out in Coors, Donnie, gave up just 1 earned run in that game. Over the last 3, he's got an ERA under 3. So he's looked very good. And look, I mean, for the Pirates, this kid pitching Williams, he got absolutely crushed. I actually faded him in that game last week against the Dodgers. They jumped on him early, if you remember. I think he gave up 6 or 7 runs. I can't imagine it would get any different. I mean, Arizona's been absolutely raking at home. And, I've talked about a little bit, Donnie, of sometimes you have some issues with the Arizona bullpen, but you look at home this year, in 15 wins, 11 have come by 2 or more runs. So, if it's not broke, don't fix it. I back Arizona at home every game, and I'll continue to do that here. Arizona is a good baseball team at home, and the Pirates just a total mess right now.
You got it. Looks like Kyle says there, Donnie, when you get the rotation, 973, 974, can you explain to me how the Rangers are favored? I know it's a slight favorite in the A's. We had a good point on that yesterday, Jeff, talking about it with the Oakland A's losing in walk-off fashion yesterday, but it was one of those games where we talked about it. Maybe I haven't taken a look yet. We'll slide it down in just a few moments here, but the Oakland A's on the road when they're a minimum favorite or like a slight underdog, not much value in that, but we'll get to that in just a moment there, Kyle. It's a good question, so hopefully we'll be able to answer that. Next up in the rotation, Jeff, we're going to go out to Coors. The Dodgers and the Rockies with Wood and Anderson, a battle of 2 lefties. A little bit of some bad mojo last night if you had the over, Jeff. Started off with the Dodgers getting 5 runs in the second inning. And looks like he had 6 runs through 3, 7 runs through 4. Couldn't hit the 9.5 number. But again, Clayton Kershaw was on the mound, so we kept those Rockies bats down. But that is sort of a tough beat there when you get that fast start in a ball game, especially at Coors, and you don't come up with the victory. Wood and Anderson today, 59% of the tickets currently coming in, Jeff, here on the Rockies. The over at under set at 11. Looks like it dipped back to 10.5. The Dodgers open up as a favorite of minus 125. Dipped back a little bit there at Pinnacle to minus 119, but still holding at 5 dimes at minus 121. If we take a look at some stuff here, Wood through 5 starts, Jeff. I know on the roundtable you mentioned Wood as a guy that you like to back, getting some solid numbers together. 3.33 ERA, so keeping this team in ball games. Anderson at home with the Rockies, 5.40 ERA. But again, folks, keep in mind it's Coors, so take that with a little bit of a grain of salt. The Dodgers 7-7 now versus left-handed pitching. Colorado, good bounce back squad, people. 9-4 after a loss. 9-4 versus left-handed pitching. And Jeff, unlike the Brew Crew, don't party on Friday nights in Colorado. 5-0 on a Saturday are the Rockies here.
Yeah, I want to just say one thing back to last night. I think I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Another angle I look at, it's not often you're getting a total, but when you get a total, for me, if you get a total above 9 with Clayton Kershaw on the mound, it's a automatic underplay every single time. With the ability that he has, it's hard to imagine. I mean, especially with that bullpen as well. again, I mean, the Dodgers could have hit a ton last night, but when you're getting 10, I think Richard makes a great point. You have to bet unders every time. I mean, Clayton Kershaw, it's too many runs. He's not going to give up many runs ever, 2 at most. And yeah, I was on the under last night, so I feel pretty good that I hit that, thank God. But yeah, this game here, I do like Wood. I've talked about that. But I don't like Wood in Coors. Coors has been a bang box for him. Last couple starts there over the last couple of years, they weren't recent. Last year and the year before, 13 earned runs and 10 in the third innings. That was with Atlanta. So, again, that could be the problem as well. But I'm not jumping in front of the Dodgers right now, Donnie, even against the lefty. I do like Wood. I like him more than I like Anderson. This is a tough game just because, I think, with Colorado, you never know what you're going to get with that lineup in Coors. But as far as for me, I would probably look under 10.5. I'll go under one more time. Colorado is 10-3 to the under against lefties this year. Dodgers have struggled against lefties, we all know. I get a feeling Wood and Anderson pitch pretty well in this game, but it won't be a heavy play for me just because it's Coors and you never know. But I think the under 10.5 is worth the look here. Both these teams have had pretty solid pitching stats for the most part this year.
So if we can wrap that up really quick, Jeff, on that game, you do like Wood, and you do like Wood and Coors. So I think we can take that on and keep it moving here.
I do, but I am concerned. I am concerned. I mean, again, it was with Atlanta, Donnie, I believe, that he pitched in Coors. So
yeah, no, I was just joking around the way it was coming out there. I was taking my foul mouth to another place where you say, I really like Wood here. That was pretty good. I like it.
Oh, okay, I got you. You try to get me on, trying to get me to say something weird, huh?
Next up on the docket here, we are going to skip over this one because it has been postponed. 965, 966. That's Fires and Severino doubleheader scheduled for tomorrow on Derek Jeter night in the Bronx. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Let's keep it moving right here down the list.
Moved the clouds open and made it rain and did all that.
Exactly. He wanted 2 games on his retirement day. Maybe they'll do it both games, Jeff. Speech after the first, speech after the second. ESPN, they're probably definitely involved with that. They would love that. All right, next up, 969, 970, Berrios and Clevenger here, Jeff. 70% of the tickets coming in here back in Cleveland opened up minus 145, has peaked up to minus 150. Short time ago, a little bit of steam actually came in on Minnesota here to bring that number down a little bit. I know most people, I don't know if you've ever seen Berrios pitch. He was a pretty highly touted guy coming in. 2012 first-round pick, young kid, struggling, however, Jeff, in Major League Baseball. 8.02 ERA in his starts with the Twins. Clevenger shut down Kansas City in a good last start there, but he's not really a long guy. If you go back and look at his stats even from last year, Jeff has yet to pitch a full 6 innings during his starts in Major League Baseball. So you might be looking at sort of a bullpen angle here. I've talked about it multiple times on the roundtable, Jeff, when we got together. Minnesota, always coming up nice here on the road, 10-4 overall. And how many of those numbers, Jeff, even with Irvin Santana on the road, catching a nice plus money number, they're getting it again today. I don't know if you want to back Berrios, even though it's his first time back up in the major leagues this season, hoping for a good start. But Cleveland is 12-7 versus right-handed pitching. So some interesting factors coming into play today with Minnesota being a decent road team, young pitcher on the mound. Some steam coming in on them a little bit, but I don't really play too much of a factor in that. Sitting roughly at minus 150. The factor, again, do you trust the Indians laying 150 at this point?
I mean, listen, I know Berrios, and I think a lot of people look at his stats last year and say, well, he sucks, blah, 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 blah. But the truth of the matter is he's a very highly touted prospect. He's a guy that many people are very high on for this team. As far as Molitor's high on him, he has been dominating AAA. I mean, you look at his numbers in AAA. His curveball's fantastic. He's got a good fastball as well. He's been lighting it up. And again, it's AAA. We've talked about that. But Berrios is a new chance. He's got renewed life. They're high on him. They need him. And off of last night, it's been evident, Donnie, that the Indians have struggled. I'm not looking to lay 150 with the Indians, especially against a guy in Berrios who I think is going to come out here and pitch pretty well. He's got kind of that attitude that I like. And look, Clevenger, you talked about. I like Clevenger too, but he's not really a long-term kind of guy. And I think the bullpen's going to get hurt a little bit here for Cleveland. They're going to have to come and enter a little early. I got to tell you, Donnie, I think this is kind of a low-scoring game, to be honest. At 9, I would look under. Twins have been good on the road, but I get the feeling after last night they kind of are in a little funk maybe offensively. I'm not in love with this. This is kind of a mad experiment type of game. You
Mhm.
kind of just watch this and see what you have with Berrios. But I will say this, going forward, I think Berrios will be pretty solid this year. I'm looking forward to see what he has today, especially against a good lineup on paper.
Yeah, interesting. The game just went off the board here. Boston and Tampa Bay. Obviously, it's going to be in the top of the first inning here. A closing line, Jeff, at sportsbook.com for Chris Sale today, minus 290. So that's something to keep an eye on to see how
Donnie,
that game's going to play out. Yes.
Ralphie V, I'm 5 minutes away from the bookie. Need a play of the day now.
Mm.
Yeah.
I actually don't have too much as a play of the day yet.
Yeah,
I'll certainly be tweeting out a lot of things. I know a lot of people reach out behind the scenes, leans and stuff like that. I'll should be able to put out at least a team total that we can get down on and win some money on. But as a team total, as a lock, me, I don't really like to bet. I'm not betting on the Boston game, obviously, since it already started and it's a 290. And I don't have much on that Seattle-Toronto game being with Weber. I'm not even sure what I'm going to get out of that ball game. So a little bit later in the day, maybe I'll have something up there as a team total that we can all get down and play on. But right now, I don't have anything that really sticks out until I see some lineups come out here.
As far as for me, so far we've talked about, I like, for me, I'm going to back the Diamondbacks. I always back them at home. Brewers, Mets over. But, listen, man, the card's not great. We've said that before. I hope, hopefully we can get some wins. Under 9, this Cleveland game looks decent as well. But, we'll continue with the card here.
Yep, next up on the rotation, 971, 972, folks. I'm going to raise the false flag warning in this one right now. That is with Tillman and Carnes. That's Baltimore and Kansas City. 82% of the tickets are backing Baltimore right now. The problem with that is game opened up at Pick'em. It's now minus 117 for Kansas City. So a lot of backing of the numbers coming in through Kansas City. 18% of the tickets on Kansas City, but that's making up 42% of the money with some movement there. Let's make sure we check some lineups as they come out. Kansas City had a nice win, 3-2 last night over Baltimore. And that one also had some similar line movement. So we're going to keep an eye on that one. If we get to look at some particulars outside of, which way the line is running there, Tillman had a shutout against the Chicago White Sox in his first start. Carnes has 6 starts this year, 3.63 ERA. Get this, Jeff. Nathan Carnes, Tampa's finest, 0.75 ERA at Kauffman Stadium this year. Baltimore, no surprise. They bash around right-handed pitchers, 14-5 overall. But Kansas City, struggling a little bit this year, but 9-5 versus teams with winning records this year, which was surprising to me, Jeff.
Yeah, and Joe Duffy made a point. I think they're going to come out of it and play pretty well for the rest of the year. They've had a tough start, but it's going to get better at some point. And Carnes has been a diamond in the rough for them. He's been fantastic. And Chris Tillman, first start of the year, he was fantastic in his start against the White Sox, not giving up a run. I would look under here, 8.5. That's where I'm at. Kansas City's been a wretched offensive team. Baltimore, I'm not as in love with on the road offensively either. 2 good pitchers here. I think it's kind of a duel. I go back and forth. I'll go under 8.5.
Yes, that's sad. Chris Davis last night, so he's probably going to be in the lineup. We'll see what comes out, but I'm actually liking, Jeff, the Kansas City lineup more and more. Hopefully they start getting around the hit. We laughed at their 6 through 9 for the first part of April and, basically for the majority of April, as it turns out. But the lineup looks better and better. They got Escobar back there in the leadoff role, keep the speed up top. Moustakas is having a decent season so far. So we'll see where that goes out and, see if that plays into it. But definitely one of those false flag games I'm looking for. I know one of the guys in the chat box, I believe it was Kyle, that was asking for this next game. Jeff, 973, 974. That's Oakland and Texas. Sonny Gray on the mound versus Nick Martinez. 52% of the tickets and 54% of the money currently backing Oakland here on the road. However, it looks like it's about a pick-em game right now, Jeff. I'm getting an opening of minus 104. It's about minus 109 at Pinnacle. Same thing there with Chris. So not much in the way of movement from where it opened and where it did not. The one thing I hasten there is I had Sonny Gray on Sunday versus Detroit, which Oakland ended up winning. The one thing interesting about that, Sonny Gray didn't have his best stuff, but Oakland's one of the worst fielding teams in the American League. The problem with that is, Sonny Gray has good enough stuff where he can get through and maneuver through 6 to 7 innings. He's not what he was like 2 to 3 years ago when he was dominating out there. But the interesting thing with that is if you don't give too many outs there, and again, Texas starting to swing the bats a little bit better, but not where they want to be. If they can somehow play good defense behind him, Sonny Gray should be okay in this environment. But again, it gets back to the same thing, Jeff, we talk about. Oakland on the road, basically as a pick 'em, I don't find that much value in.
No, there's none in it. And Texas has won 4 in a row quietly. They're starting to win some
Walk-off
games.
baby. Yeah.
They have a good lineup. Joey Gallo's been killing it. He's second in the league in home runs, other than Aaron Judge. But we've talked about their lineup. It has been poor this year for the most part. Sonny Gray, a guy off an injury, is the luster gone from Sonny Gray? Kind of a career ender, possibly. It's been early, but he hasn't looked particularly good after that injury. Problem I have here with Nick Martinez. You look at his numbers against lefties are good, but right-handers hitting 310 off Nick Martinez. In that ballpark, I'm not a fan of that. And you mentioned it, there's just no value in Oakland. I'll hope for my fantasy team. I actually have Sonny Gray somehow on my roster. This is a day in fantasy pitcher-wise that I don't have too much, but I hope he pitches well here. But yeah, I have no interest in this game betting-wise.
No, either do I in that aspect. But again, looking at just from that angle, Nick Martinez has actually been pretty good at home, Jeff. 2 home starts this year, 2.78 ERA. So he has done some decent work. But again, it's all about Oakland at home for me, the same way a lot people that I look at the way of Tampa Bay, similar type clubs. And again, you can even take a correlation. Like Sonny Gray was supposed to be on that same trajectory as like a Chris Archer in a way. I mean, they were both that type of pitcher, but it looks like one is continuing to build, as in Chris Archer, and Sonny Gray has sort of slipped off a little bit here. Let's keep it moving down the list. 2 more games left on the docket. Detroit and the Angels, 977, 978. Derek Norris, Ricky Nolasco. About a 50-50 ticket split here, Jeff. Minus 123. The home team opened up with the favorite, which is the Angels, bumped up to minus 135. So getting some good line movement here in that one. If we take a look at some particulars, Jeff, Norris is a decent pitcher. He has good stuff. The one thing, Jeff, struggles with his command. If you watch him pitch there, he can get the strikeout, but he can also walk 2 or 3 batters in an inning, and that is certainly reflective in his walks and hits to innings pitched at 1.67. That's deadly in Major League Baseball. Nolasco's been okay through 3 home starts, 4.32 ERA. The Angels are 6-4 versus left-handed pitching. Last night, the only play that I gave out was on the over in the Angels and Detroit game. Just a torturous game to watch. It happens. Bases loaded twice back-to-back, only scored 1 run with 0 outs on that. And if you have a total, you know it's always going to come back to haunt you. Only 7 runs were scored in that game. I needed 8 for the push, didn't get it. Neither here nor there. That's going to happen. But getting back to this game overall, not a great pitching matchup. Let's see some of those lineups come out. Just waiting on both of these teams to flare. Because correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff, we had a shutout last night of 7-0, and I believe the night before was either 6 or 7-1. So one offense is firing while the other is not. Do both offenses come to play tonight here?
This is a total coin flip. I have no feel. I mean, Norris is blah. Nolasco. I mean, Ricky Nolasco, is he not the most average major league pitcher ever?
Yeah, no. Yep.
I mean, there's both lineups. I mean, they're interest there, but yeah. Listen, Donnie, I told you last night I had Arizona. My other play was the same as yours. I mushed you probably, but yeah, it was a tough game to watch. I mean, so many opportunities. And of course, the Angels or the Detroit Tigers the Angels. They were bashing, but Detroit just a mess in the lineup last night. I don't have anything on this game. Pass for me.
Yeah, no, interesting in that one. You bring up a good point there, Ricky Nolasco, just your average guy. There's another guy on the opposite side of the diamond there on Detroit who, if you switched uniforms and didn't tell you who it was, Ricky Nolasco and Anibal Sanchez, almost identical pitchers to me, the same exact way. Why not just throw them both out there? They're almost like twins to me in a way, Jeff.
Hunters, Arsenal scores 1-0, baby. Boom. Repeat that, Donnie. I'm sorry. I was in.
No, I was saying Ricky Nolasco and Anibal Sanchez, both on separate teams here, almost identical pitchers. You know what I mean? Just don't have much anymore, just on their back ends of their career. But I believe somebody tweeted out last night, Sanchez still making like $16 million a year. Is that correct?
Yeah, now he's in the bullpen. I don't know if you saw that.
I did see it last night. Trout took him deep for like a 425 or 430 foot blast. So that was
these are 2 guys that I just even Sanchez as well. Just no real interest. And you would think with all the bullpen issues and stuff, we would have had some late runs last night, but
Yeah, got 2. No, it was a shame because there's a couple innings there where you had double play balls, you had leadoff doubles, couldn't get anybody home. But again, that's going to happen. It's a long season in Major League Baseball. These nuts here on the chat box, Jeff, heading to the Angels game after, headed to the strip club in OC for the homegirl's birthday. It's going to be a great Saturday. Let's get this money, folks. Sounds like a good day out there on the West Coast.
Sounds like a nice day. Good for you. We're stuck on the East Coast.
It's raining.
Nothing good around us. So, good for you, man.
Yep.
You enjoy Hey, listen, before we do get to the rest of the show here, make sure you take care of your mother tomorrow or today.
Yeah, we'll get to that at the end. We have a couple nice mother parting shots.
Yeah, I am going to take my talk about my mom at the end. So if you want to shed a tear, make sure you listen to that.
If you want to shed a tear, just turn us off. You don't have to wait that long on that one. But we are going to get to Mother's Day points. Last game on the docket day today, Jeff. 979, 980. That's going to be Cahill and Covey, San Diego, and the White Sox. 50-50 split here in tickets again. Minus 120, Jeff. San Diego opens up as a favorite on the road, spiking to minus 137. Some particulars here. Again, Cahill, great at home for me, Jeff. I've won some money off him at San Diego playing at Petco. Not so much on the road here. 3 road starts, 5.82 ERA. So home and away splits are real for Cahill. Covey in his last 3 starts, I believe I have him. I think I wrote that down right. At 8.59 ERA. Sounds about right. He hasn't gotten too many people out. But San Diego, Jeff, off the win last night. 7-14 here on the road. Favored almost at minus 140. That's amazing.
Yeah, the White Sox have lost 7 of 8, Donnie. They were a team that I mentioned I liked last night. But you look at this number, they're feeling good about San Diego, and for good reason. I mean, Covey's been bad. I mean, really bad. I mean, 5 games, he's an ERA above 8. Mm-hmm. He's given up 23 earned runs in 25 innings. The White Sox have been a mess against right-handed pitching. Listen, folks, when the White Sox face a righty with Covey on the mound, it'd be in your best interest probably to bet the other side, even if it's the Padres. This is just a wretched team against right-handed pitching, and Covey is just not backable.
Yep. And that'll do it for the baseball card today. Again, an early card that we were looking at here. There's not a lot of value, so to speak. Yes, raised a little bit of a false flag there with Kansas City. So I'll be eyeing that one up as the day goes along. There's probably going to be a couple spots that I do say that are interesting for team totals. I know a couple people asked me for them. Follow me on Twitter at RightSideVP. If I have a team total that I have out there, I'll certainly put it out there so we can eat on. Jeff, just to wrap up that baseball card, give them a play again in case they just tuned in that you might be looking at here. They can win some money on, buddy.
Yeah, I would probably go with, again, I'll continue to say the free play for the year is Arizona at home. You bet them at home. They're an auto bet at home. I'm kind of liking the under in that Cleveland Twins game. Someone made a point about why the total's 9. It's kind of an interesting point. But I guess they're figuring that, these 2 pitchers are going to get roped. But, I look at probably that one maybe. The under there, maybe under 8.5 Royals, Orioles. But for the sake of the show, I'll say Arizona for life, baby. Maybe even lay the run line. You get a little cute and lay the run line here. But there's some spots. But right now, until lineups come out, this just is not a great card, honestly.
Yeah, and the one thing I might need either a nice tall Ciroc vodka today or a Jack Daniels because the New York Mets are getting the line movement that I like and look into right now. So if I'm going to be on Giseleman now, I hasten the thought out there. I'm 2-0 in Selman games. 1, I took an over, they hit. 1, I even backed Selman in Atlanta, and he got the win. So as much as I knocked the guy, I'm actually 2-0 betting with Selman. So he has been very good to me. I better watch what I say. But we'll wrap up this Major League Baseball card here and get to some other information. No NBA action today, and we just have 1 hockey game on the docket. And you know me and Big Man, we don't really break it down too much, but it looks like that is Ottawa and Pittsburgh. Early indication, but heavy favorite, minus 210 it opened up. Looks like the Pens are hanging in there right around that 2-1 favorite here in hockey. So certainly something, if you're a hockey backer, anybody out there on the docket want to give us a play on that you're looking for, just don't tell me take the Penguins on the money line, all right? Give me something to work with over here.
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't even know what.
That's what you wanted to add to it right there.
Quickly, I thought you don't like home teams' run line. I do. Certain teams I don't. The Nationals, I will never bet at home on the run line. But a team like the Diamondbacks, particularly tonight, I would probably look that way because you're facing a team that can't hit. You're facing a pitcher you're going to score against. You're facing a team that I think you're going to have a pretty good lead against. But yeah, I mean, you got to remember at home, you're only going to get probably 8 at bats. So, or you're going to get 8 at bats unless you're down. So, yeah, I would probably do the run line, but maybe parlay it with another team you like. Arizona's been a good side. So, as far as hockey, I don't have anything. I guess what's going on in hockey today? Say that again.
One game. Looks like the Eastern Conference Final is going to start up today with Pittsburgh and Ottawa.
So it's starting. Who cares?
Yeah.
I guess SBR is some great people that talk about hockey. I would use their resources because we've talked about it, Donnie. We're not people that are just going to give out opinion on stuff. I know the next segment we may, just because we were hoping to talk about this today, but we'll do our best here. Donnie, we have UFC 211.
Let's spend a couple minutes on it. Yeah.
In Dallas, Texas. We had hoped to get Andreas Hale on, our UFC and boxing guy. He is, though, on his way to this fight, so we weren't able to make that happen. But Andres will be on with us in the future. And don't forget, Monday, Donnie, Al Bernstein joins us, boxing Hall of Famer. He will join Donnie and I on the late night on campus at 10 o'clock Eastern. We'll get Al's predictions on not predictions.
Tyson. All we're talking about is Tyson with Al Bernstein. Let's make that happen.
Right. We're going to talk plenty. We're going to talk Canelo, Triple G, recap some of the fights that went on, and just some stories from Al Bernstein. So looking forward to that. Al's a favorite of mine. Let's jump into some UFC, though. UFC 211. Dallas, Texas, American Airlines Arena. You have the home of Mark Cuban, Donnie, and the Dallas Mavericks. The headliners here, Stipe Miocic Jr., Dos Santos, Frankie Edgar also fighting. Then you have a bout between strawweights, Jessica Andrade against Joanna Jurtsevic. I'm not a good Polish name guy, but I will try. Jurtsevic, I like.
I got it as Jędrzejczyk.
Jędrzejczyk, whatever. Jędrzejczyk.
Looking at the money on those two fights, if you take a look at the heavyweight battle there with Dos Santos, and I even have it phonetically spelled out, Miocic in the fight there. Minus 199 opened up at Pinnacle. Has since been bet down. Looks like you can get a crisp minus 151. Five Dimes actually offering minus 135. Again, I'm not going to give you a fight breakdown or analysis on this one because we had somebody lined up with a couple questions. But if you ask me if I can pick out Miocic from a lineup, I wouldn't be able to do it in 100 years.
Yeah, and I looked at some of kind of the breakdowns from some of the Bloody Elbow and some of the other blogs. I mean, they're pretty much split on this fight. Someone has a couple have Dos Santos, some have Miocic. So yeah, look, guys, we're not going to come across and say we know about UFC. Clearly, there's a couple we know. Like I've backed this JJ chick, Jędrzejczyk. I backed her. I've looked at her. She just has the look, man. I mean, she just looks like a total bulldog. Like you would never want to get involved with her on any circumstance. She looks like she lives, breathes, fighting. Like that's just all she does. I feel like she's fought her whole life, and she just seems like
that Joanna girl, big favorite there. 74% of the tickets coming in backing her. It opened up at minus 141. Now at Five Dimes, minus 190. So heavy steam coming in on Jędrzejczyk.
Yeah, Jędrzejczyk is, I mean, she just looks like just a bear, man. I'm going to say this. Ronda Rousey was a favorite of mine. I always liked her. I think this chick could be maybe the staple for UFC for a while. She just looks like just a total beast, but I don't know much about her fighter. It would have helped clearly if we had a guest to talk about this, but I know there are plenty of people in the chat box that do love fights. Stipe's a total different fighter from their last fight, says these nuts. Loshek and Andreas love the Rodriguez Edgar going the distance. Okay, great. Yeah, and that's something we will say. Andreas Hale did join Peter Loshak a couple days ago to kind of get some early look at this card. So if you want, feel free, head on over. Loshak always does a great job with Andreas, and they broke these fights down. So I would recommend maybe checking that out. Looks like a fun card. I will watch this stuff, obviously, Donnie. I always enjoy fighting. I'm a boxing guy. We all know that. But do you have anything on this fight, Stan?
No. Looks like a fantastic card, one I would know nothing about and would not want to lead you in the wrong direction. But, hey, I do like saying the name, so that is one thing here for us. But that's pretty much going to wrap up the sports end of our card today. Tomorrow, again, we reached out there. Take care of your mothers. I mean, we've all, I don't know if a mom has passed away that you have, or maybe an estranged mother, your mother now, reach out, maybe rekindle it. Mother's Day is a great day. I have a wife and a daughter, treat the wife like the queen because, she takes care of my kid when I'm not able to do so. That motherly love, the same thing with my mother as well. That gave me all throughout, making that hot dinner for me when she's racing me off to baseball, to football, to, everything across the planet there. Reach out to your mom, give her a hug and a kiss, buy her some flowers, make her some dinner, take her out to dinner. It is Mother's Day tomorrow, so it's going to be a wonderful day. One of my favorite days of the year because, again, as we grow up, it's Christmas. you know, you always like to do that. But as you get a little bit older there, you want to take care of the ones who take care of you, and certainly get out there and take care of your mothers out there.
Yeah, and if you're, I don't know how many people on here. I know Cash Action Bets and a couple other people have listened to my podcast for a while. And back when my podcast was going full board, Donnie, every day, I remember a moment when my mom came on my show. She was a guest for like about 10 minutes. You know what we talked about?
What's that?
I always remember this. It was the day of the ESPYs, and Caitlyn Jenner was the Arthur Ashe Courage Award winner.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a bet you could make on what color dress she would wear. And my mom keeps up on all that stuff, you know, as most moms do. She came on the show live and gave her breakdown. 5-1 winner, Donnie, she hit with.
Nice. Yeah.
I always remember that about my mother. But yes, I'm not going to bore people, but my mom is, you know, we can always say we have the best mom. I believe I probably do. My mom has always been real supportive. And I can tell you this, many of you know, I'm not the easiest guy to deal with. I mean, we all see that. But you know, she was always very, she's always very important to me. So, you know, I sent her some flowers. We got something going. So, you know, hopefully she enjoys her day. And all the mothers, like Donnie said, go, you know, even if you maybe haven't talked to your mom, or you're on the outs or something, family's all you got in this at the end of the day. You know, friends and colleagues are great, but brothers, sisters, they're everything. And in my culture, the women are everything, as in many cultures, but mine particularly, mothers are very important. So go out and don't worry about sports betting maybe for one day. Go out and give your mom your all that day. You shouldn't need to do it just because of a holiday, Donnie, but again, take care of mom tomorrow. But question here, Donnie, maybe we can address this before we go. Let me get to it here. Seth Hagen, who his grandpa Tom Hagen is the consigliere in the Corleone crime family.
He's not a wartime consigliere, though.
Yes, correct. He's just a German consigliere. So, yes, Seth, say hello to Tom. Let him know that we are in support of the Corleone family. Besides overall knowledge, what would you say is the biggest difference between the average Joe bettor and yourself? Well, Seth, I'll say this, and I'll let Donnie get his opinion as well. I don't think I'm much different than any of you. You know, obviously SBR gives me a great avenue to come on here, and I've almost built my rep as kind of knowing things and you know, kind of being able to talk on the spot. But maybe that, you know, maybe I can just sit here and just kind of rail off any knowledge at any point. But, you know, we grind just like any of you. We're here. This is how we kind of support ourselves and support our livelihoods. And I guess we just have more time than other people do. Some people have, you know, that regular job and maybe they don't have the time. And, you know, we've just immersed ourselves, Donnie, I think, in this business. So, but again, we're no different. I have the same problems as you. When I get off here, I got to go make my bed or do wash or clean my car out. We have the same problems. We're no better than anyone else. We just look to have fun, come on here and talk to all you guys.
Yep, absolutely. Been a fun show here on Saturday. Me and the big men will be back on the Late Night of Campus, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday with guest Al Bernstein. Check out at SBR Sports Picks there on Twitter, SBRodds.com. Also, again, hit the subscribe button there on SBR Sportsbook Review here on YouTube. Hit the like button, retweet, like, follow. It's been a lot of fun this weekend. Kiss your mamas out there for tomorrow, Jeff. It's been a fun show tomorrow. I'll talk to you a little bit later. We have been the right side of the campus for Saturday. Take care, folks.